I've heard you say before, and Coach, I know you've said it just a little while ago, how, and this is stuck in my head, maybe from you, I'm hearing you say it, success leads to more success. Just hearing that, I think both of you believe that, success leads to more success. How does that little saying reflect the kids from this program, the type of kids that played in the Jefferson program, and how you ran this program?
Well, I go back to when I was in college, and I said my college coach was traveling on a bus back from Eau Claire or something, and I wanted to get into coaching. I thought about it, and he said, well, find a job at a school that's got a good reputation, and find that community and try to get to that, and then to try to plant the seed, that once you're talking about getting the state tournament, the second time is easier. Once you get there, success breeds success.
No doubt about it. Yeah, and that right down the line is just, you could convince kids to work harder because they see what has happened in the past. And like you just said, success breeds more success, and that's success results from all that. Success being defined not just winning championships, but being phenomenal students and phenomenal people.
And to carry on in life, you bet.
Yeah.
Don't you think the one reason why you guys had built such a great program, and all whether success is defined by state championships or whatever, but is the young, like when John and Tim in '82 were playing and they win a state championship, I was in 7th grade witnessing this that my brothers were a part of, and my father was one of the coaches. Man, that just inspired me big time. So, I mean, don't you think that's a part of the younger kids in the youth program, whether it's the traveling kids or even the BAA City League kids, witnessing these high school kids having this type of success, and how that kind of builds on success?
You hope that would be the effect, that it would inspire them to work a little bit harder to make that next climb, to the next step. It doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
I mean, it takes the athlete itself, and there's a lot of, as you know, goes on inside it, to make that big step. But
right.
Yeah, no question about it. I just enjoyed coaching basketball here, and much of the reason was that not only our kids, actually you mentioned 4 of our sons that finished basketball here, and it just breeds a happy family, and the kids are happier, and the school's happier. And I know we'd come back from when you'd win a state championship, and they'd have a meeting or a gathering here, and
welcome home.
Yeah, you couldn't beat that. That was the highlight of the season, just about the happiness of the whole student body, and that it went on many years for Jack. So
it's a pretty tough feeling to match when you win a state championship or something like that.
Yeah.
My thought is when we won it in '87, and it was in some ways a magical, special kind of season, and you go undefeated and you win a state championship, and I've said this to people before in my life, how that season played out and finished, and that was the end of March of 1987. I kind of remember until, say, the end of March, until we graduated in June of '87. I mean, everybody's excited because the weather's getting warmer, the seniors are going to be moving on, the juniors are excited about becoming seniors, and the sophomores, everybody moving up. But there was an excitement in the school that can kind of pull the entire student body together when, say, one of the major sports like boys basketball has success. Do you guys remember that? Because I remember kind of feeling that with my friends and everybody in the senior class.
I think that's all part of school life, and anytime you can have something like that to hold on to. And you hope that the student body would pick it up and feel proud of it and relate back to Jefferson High School for whatever reason it may be.
Yeah, they were good years, no question about it. And the fact that we had kids involved and able to experience the success was especially great from my perspective, no doubt about it. And, yeah, we enjoyed our years here working together, and again, I was lucky to work with a guy like Jack, and there's no question about that. The fact that success came about, and again, this the good kids that we had in basketball, the good students that they were, and then again, all the more we got to track them down here and find out what they did after finishing high school here. So, in basketball here, that was it's going to be a great story, and it's going to get told, I'm sure, too.
Okay, I'll change gears just a little bit. How about coaching? You coached your own son, Jeff. You coached 4 of your sons here at Jefferson. Talk about that dynamic of what it was like to coach. And on top of that, Jeff and Mike were the same class and friends on top of it. So you guys were coaching your own sons, and they were playing together. How did that dynamic kind of play out?
Well, I don't know. The fact that they were good friends, I think, helps a little bit too. But they were both leaders on the team, and I don't know. They asked me before too if it was more difficult coaching your own son. I think so they don't want to have them make mistakes that are glaring mistakes that affect the play, but you want them to forget about that. Just go out and do what you practice for all the time. And they never disappointed us. They're very responsive leaders, practicing and performing during the game. So we had no problem with that.
Yeah, I worried about that too. In fact, I asked Joey Hutton, who was coaching at Lincoln at the time, when I got involved in basketball here again. I said, I can handle it, but it puts more pressure on our kids, is what I was fearful of. That, they'd say the only reason you're playing is your old man's coaching here and that stuff. But he said, no. He said, absolutely. I think that they're good players. I just want to coach them and somebody else get to have, working with good kids that are good players. And so that convinced me, no doubt about it, that I wanted to coach be part of coaching our own kids too in the process. There was a good, that's the only, sadly, of my own experience in our own family. The other 3 boys were on state championship teams, but Jeff and Mike just about, but didn't quite get there at the state tournament that year. That was kind of a sad, tough one, but they had great seasons and they had great careers and great lives, and so no doubt about it. Well, Jeff, all we got is Evans here. We're stuck with Evans coaching here for, 47 years now, so that's not bad. So.
How about for you, having that you have 4 sons that play in this program, and just, I've heard you say every one of it's amazing how I look at my kids and how you guys are all so different and unique, even though we all grew up in the same house, we all come from the same 2 people, yet we're all so different and unique. So when it came to, if you believe in that, how did that play out with each particular kid? Some handled your coaching better than others, and others were fine with it.
Well, I think, that's true. That I think, I don't know, but I think it would have been probably a little easier for 2 of our sons if they had not had me coaching it. Not that they complained about it or anything like that, but this might have been a little easier for them if I wasn't coaching them. But it was easier for me because Jack was the head man. So, if things aren't, I said, well, Jack makes decisions about substituting that stuff, and so that's the way it is. And so I could kind of back out that way. But it worked out very well. And I just soon coach him myself than have somebody else coach him. That's I figured we could do as well or better than anybody. So that worked out pretty well. I have no hesitation at all as I look back at it. So good years.
When you guys look back on your coaching career together and this program, do you the things that really jump at you the most? I get the sense it's not so much the winning. The winning was great, but it was the relationship with the kids and the day-to-day interaction and the practices. All good coaches seem like they say, I love practice, more so than what happens during the game or whether the game is won or lost. It's the practice. It's the interaction with those kids.
Well, I think so too. I used to chart every practice, and one year a guy asked me how many days do you put in for practice, on the salary committee. And I didn't do it for that, but I charted them down, and when we went to the state tournament, we'd go about 207, 208, and I'd figure out hourly how many hours that was, and how many hours you were there with the kids. And you never regretted any of them because we enjoyed being with them. And they would figure that out. In fact, until the last 4 or 5 years we were coaching, never used to pay for state tournament time. Your season ended right there. No, this was fine. You didn't coach for a state tournament or anything.
Right.
But you enjoyed the time with the kids.
Yeah, and I would look back at, after I finished 49 years of teaching and coaching, I missed more days of school for state tournament games than I did sick days in 49 years. I really only took, as I thought back on it, I think I took about, in 49 years, 4 sick days that I actually took. And that's good fortune for good health. But I probably missed for state tournament games about 25 or 30 or so. So that was always enjoyable to bring that up to somebody too. That we were gone from school, rarely for ill days and that stuff, but many days for state tournament days, and that's better. That's great. So it was good experiences we had here, no question about it.
Let's go into say from the time like 1987, my senior year, state championship, until you guys retired. Is it 96? It was 96. You guys.
96 or 97, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, 96, 97. So another 10 years after 87. How did those seasons go? What are your memories from, kind of those seasons up until you guys decided to hang them up?
Well, I think in 1990 we were a state tournament team when we had Vandegaard and those guys, that group of really, really good students in the process too. But that was it was a sad year in one sense. Vandegaard sprained his ankle in the first game we played against Fergus Falls, and we could have had a chance to potentially win another state championship there. But when he got hurt, it was pretty tough on them. And yet we came back, and that's the year we beat Cretin and also beat Moundsview, two teams that we'd scrimmaged early in the year, and they just clobbered us. And so
we had Vince, the good writer that passed away too.
Oh, Vince Flynn.
Flynn, rather.
Vince Flynn.
She was our trainer. She sat up all night with him that day he got hurt. It was the worst ankle I've ever seen. It was ugly. But she got him so we could play the next 2 days. God.
Yeah,
I don't know how he did it on that ankle.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. A tough kid. He's up there too, in one of those that are honored in the Basketball Hall of Fame here, and he deserves it. And he had a great career after that, and really a good student too in the process too. So I guess it was his nephew that was playing for Jeff last year, I think.
Yeah, he's at Naval Academy now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, again, one more good student.
Yeah.
Example of good kids, good students that we had. The blessed to be coaching and working with. So
that was 90. Then how did it kind of play out until you guys were done coaching here?
Well, one of the things that was beginning to happen that really irritated me was this recruiting by other schools.
Yeah.
And that was just beginning to happen at that point.
We were losing some prospective players and kids that we thought we were looking into the future for them. And that started to happen. So I go ahead and finish.
Yeah, that was Hopkins. No question about it. They got into the recruiting phase of it, and it's come to be, I guess, much more ordinary now. But yeah, we lost. Well, we were done coaching at that point, but we lost a couple of kids that went over to Hopkins in the process too, and that was that made it easier to retire from coaching from my standpoint.
Yeah, me too.
Because it was just. When Jack was inducted in the Lake Conference Hall of Fame, I spoke. I introduced them and that stuff, and I mentioned that we were so proud of the fact that most of the kids that played for Jack, were kids that were 6, 8, 10 blocks away from the school. They were our kids. They weren't somebody that came in from someplace else, and Jack ended up being retired as the most successful state championship, 4 of them at the time, and nobody had ever done that before. And they were all our kids. They weren't somebody coming from someplace else. And so we're so proud of that they were just the neighborhood kids that played for us, and they were good enough to survive.
I've only been back to one state tournament in the last 10 years. That's because a former Jefferson player had a team in there, Montreal. And otherwise, I don't go. I don't like all-star games, what I call them, what they are now. But and Dave Montbrand had a great run.
Yeah, BBE.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I was in the hospital at the time when he played a game, and I had some heart thing or whatever it was that hit me, and I couldn't talk. And then they came in, the family came in, and I had to write something on a little thing because I couldn't speak. And I said, "How did BBE do?" That was my first question. What a knucklehead! Here, lucky he's alive, and then the first question he asked, "How did BBE do in the state tournament?" So, yeah, that was passed on some guys that were really good coaches and that stuff that succeeded in other places too in the process. When you have a great experience, I think in anything, a Jefferson student or a basketball player here, I think you continue to be involved and down the road. You get, I'm sure a lot of the players volunteered themselves to be coaching along the way, and some were coaches along the way. Like Matty Vollum right here, one of our very successful basketball guys that went on to coaching too. And that's
Rob DeCourcy.
Robbie, yeah.
oh, Robbie too. I can't see very good in the background there, but when you get an experience like that, I think you're encouraged to continue, and that's to be involved. And those that go into teaching have an opportunity to be able to coach too. Yeah, it was a great experience, no question.
Quickly, when I was talking to Jack earlier, he said that he just really, as his career in teaching and coaching went on in a high school environment, that he maybe initially got into this profession to coach, and then the second, maybe a bit secondary, was more teaching, but that flip-flopped. He really enjoyed the classroom, and he still enjoyed coaching, I'm not saying that, but really enjoyed the classroom environment, working with the kids in the classroom, and maybe coaching wasn't as important as it was maybe. Is that the same situation maybe with you?
Well, yeah, when I went to St. John's initially out there, and I was going to play basketball in college, but the prime reason, they said, "Well, what do you want to major in?" I said, "Oh, Phi Ed." They said, "Well, we don't have a Phi Ed major here." And so I said, "Well, I was really interested in coaching football and basketball when I get out." And so that was already on my radar screen that I wanted to get into coaching right away. And there's no doubt about it that was significant. However, I always enjoyed and liked to be known as a teacher. They'd say, "Well, what do you do?" And I'm a teacher. And then add coaching later on. But that's no question about it that both of us were in the history department over here, and we enjoyed teaching, and I think we were successful in teaching as well. So it was really no question about it. Teacher, coach, that's what we were.